Somebody in the back was yelling at me?
Yeah, I had a question regarding your collaboration. So like Chad, you just yesterday had a show at Columbia, the Leather BGO, right?
Correct.
How do you balance being in the collaboration that you are in with everyone else and using those resources and then still producing your own stuff and promoting your own stuff independently?
Lots of coffee, not very much sleeping. You know, it's something for me, and we kind of said this in the beginning of, you know, we all want to do these creative things, and it's not a job. I don't look at it as a job, it's a lifestyle for me. Like, it's something that I just want to do all the time. I don't have a choice to turn off my brain, you know, so, I mean, I just kind of immerse myself in it kind of constantly. Even if I'm going to events, and not specifically in the studio, I'm usually telling the other people in the family which events I'm going to and meet people that know of the Post family. So it's kind of like, it's very organic and it doesn't always work. I don't really have like a specific way of organizing it. So far it's worked out, but
You're a hustler, you just work really hard.
I guess.
He works really hard. He's always hustling. He's always.
But it's not work though. I mean, I think that's one thing to me that is a huge thing for me is when I get up in the morning, you know, I'm going to do stuff that I want to be doing. If I don't want to be doing it, I mean, obviously there's some things that we have to do that we don't want to be doing, but as much as possible, I try to keep things that I really don't prefer to be doing at a little bit of a distance from me and make sure that that as I'm going from thing to thing, that is something that I'm genuinely excited about and can put forth that effort to really make it what I want it to be. So, does that kind of answer your question? Not really.
Like in the scope of your it does, but like in the scope of your collaboration with everyone else. So like, how do you balance that? So, say like one of Rod's illustrations go into a magazine, like if you promote this, and then like balancing your own shows that are going out there, and then working in a collaboration. And then in context of this question, like I run a space as well, and we run into these problems all the time. Where it's like,
What's it called?
Loft 3A in
Okay.
Lincoln Park. And so we come to these problems all the time where one of us is doing our own thing in a different space, and it's always great to go out, but then we have prior obligations or obligations come up at the space that we're in.
Right.
So like how does one balance that sort of thing, especially with you guys?
One of the, and this is something that I kind of pulled from Sam and have been running with, is one of the easiest things to do, making lists. Making lists is like the most brilliant thing ever. Thank you. And Sam knows about a half dozen different softwares that you can make lists with if you guys would like to know. It's like, but he's still, I mean, he's very passionate about physically making a list on a piece of paper, and that, as simple as that sounds, having that list and seeing the progression of checked off things on the list really helps keep that momentum, because you're physically crossing something out. You're seeing something that needs to be done, you're physically crossing it out. That's on a very simple basis, that's really helps me. Also having like 110% trust in everyone else that I'm working with, I can feel a little bit better about what I'm doing, knowing that the people around me I can completely trust to really rock out whatever it is.
I don't think we didn't set out to be, do you mind?
No.
We didn't set out to be a collaborative where we're always showing together, or where if Chad has a show, it's the Post family show. I think it's always been more of this idea of supporting the community, and you know, it's been amazing to me to watch you advance as an artist, and I feel like as you have grown and gotten known, the Post family has gotten known, and vice versa. I think it's been a sort of a mutually beneficial relationship, and I think we can all sort of say that. And at the end of the day, whether or not we're working on one project that we all get known for, or Chad's going out there and doing his thing, or Alex is cranking on Illustration Corporation, there's still some element of collaboration and support from the core group of 7 that helped advance it to that point. So, and there's no jealousy issue, there's no space
Right.
issue. We're all, you know, if someone isn't living up to the very least standards and expectations we have for everyone in the group, they're gonna get some shit for it, you know, and that's why Scott is just a gnome right now. No, but, you know, I mean, there's no rule book to it, it's just worked for us.
Yeah, we've
And-
been super fortunate. I mean, the nice thing too about having this group of people is the healthy competition of it. You know, if Rod goes out and scores an illustration, doing some illustrations for a magazine, I immediately want to be like, all right, I gotta run up this. I gotta get an editorial illustration, or I need to do something to kind of like keep the ball rolling, you know, like. And that's what's really inspiring about everyone in our group as well, is we all do so many different things, and when we see each other succeed, we're just like, all right, like, we really can do this, you know, like, and oh man, that's really badass, I want to do something like that. And having that atmosphere constantly in the studio and that push back and forth, it really keeps the gas in the tank, so to speak, and you really want to, you have all these people doing all this cool stuff around, you really want to keep it going.
So let's move on and just sort of talk about that a little bit more, about how that collaboration has helped us. I think there are two ways that we would consider us being really strong collaborators. We collaborate within the group, which is what we've been talking about, and collaborate within the community. So, you know, let's talk about the power of a network, because that's something that absolutely has come into play, getting us to where we are now. Take anyone in the room, from the most hustling person like Chad to someone who likes to sit at their desk and not talk to anyone. You have a network, and that's how you know people, and that's how you get your work out there. So you've got, you know, your friends, your family, your coworkers, and then that spider webs out from there. And some people have more connections, some people have less. But, you know, basically you're in your little sphere.
You only have one friend at work?
I only have one friend at work, and it's actually right there. I don't talk to anybody else there. I'm that guy that sits at my computer and just, I'm here. Yeah, I actually only have 7 friends, and one of them is not here. So, I mean, the thing that's been great about the Post family is right off the bat, you got 7 people. They're all coming together, and they have that network. And it's just a real simple thing to point out, but it's been incredibly helpful for the group. So, you know, we can look at where everyone's coming from, and I think you're getting a sense that we're all coming from different sort of areas in the field. So what Chad brings to the table from his sort of fringe network is very different from what I bring to the table, is very different from what Alex, Davey, Rob, Scott bring to the table. You've got some good overlap there, you've got some connections within that network, but it keeps growing, and it grows exponentially faster than the single one.
I really want to use my laser pointer for this. This is, I think, the most interesting thing, right? Is this, right? It's not, oh man, I've never actually used this thing before. All right, so there's 7 of us, right? And we So we all have our own, like, people, right? And that's cool, and the people connect, and it grows, and all of a sudden we have more of a community, we have all these people, right? The thing that's always been totally fascinating to me is when Rod's friend becomes friends with my friend, you know, that has nothing to do with our relationship, right? So our community, and by the way that we kind of open things up, it's very open to this idea where we're trying to connect really creative people to like with each other, and it doesn't involve us. Like there's all these things going on every day of our friends connecting with other friends, and our community kind of growing and interacting with each other, which puts more work out there, more good work. It all affects everybody, affects each other, and that's what's so interesting is once you start building this thing out, the way that it interacts with each other, like, you don't have great control over, but I know that all these guys, all of their friends, the people that they bring to our events are good dudes, or girls. They're good people, and the way they connect with each other, and what happens between his cool friend, hanging out with his cool friend, and what they make, that's really exciting to us, because we have no control over that, and it sort of just resonates back into the network. That's been really something interesting to observe as we grow.